Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the 2024 campaign. I am your.
Who let you take the reins here, Benjamin?
Because you're being an idiot and you're taking forever. So I'm just gonna take.
I'm not doing anything of that sort.
I was on a roll.
All right, fine. Play it back. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Get in the Hole podcast. I am your favorite co-host, Ben Pirro. That is Stephen McAvoy over there, casually 17 minutes late per usual. New year, same old Stephen. I am so excited for this year. I have a microphone. It doesn't work, but it's here for effect. And hilariously, Stephen said he wanted to do more live episodes, and I said that would never work because you're always late. Hence, we are recording this. But I'm very excited for this. We have a lot on the docket today. As Stephen likes to say, that's like his favorite word to begin every single episode. He looks fresh. I look like I need a shower. Let's get this show on the road, ladies and gentlemen.
It's funny because technically I told you, hey, I got to be ready for 7:45 because I have the distinct honor in my household of making dinner for my future wife. So unfortunately, I can't be done until I finish fucking dinner. So you can wait on me, and I'm sure when you have a wife one day, if you are ever desirable enough to get one. Although then again, if you're ever desirable enough to get one, or if you choose to not be
I am plenty desirable enough to get one. Give me a break.
I think you'll be a 70-year-old man living in a high-rise in Manhattan or Miami probably, and just soaking up the sun as a single man your whole life.
Well, I've literally said to both you and KB, I'm going to get my penthouse in Miami. I'm going to get a dog. I'm going to get a goldfish. I'm going to have the boys.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We're going to party. That's like, so you're literally just.
Did you give a name to the goldfish yet?
Yeah, I told you. It's Connor.
It's Connor. And then what's the dog's name?
Probably Spike, because that was the first. Connor was the first goldfish I ever had, and then Spike was the first dog I ever had. So like kind of.
What breed of dog?
Jack Russell Terrier.
That's that. All right, that'd be really cute.
Right.
Kay and I have always said she wants to get labs, so I would love to have 2 labs. Have you ever seen Animal House?
Yeah.
You know Otter and Boone?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get 2 labs and name them Otter and Boone. I think it would be the most hilarious thing because I don't know if in the show they're considered gay lovers or like they're just best friends. There's some like odd dynamic between the 2 of them, but whatever it happens to be, I really want 2 dogs that I can just have as my homies. I always wanted actually a bulldog, but Kay got mad at me when I brought it up because they have like breathing problems because of their natural like scrunched face.
Yeah,
and she felt bad that like taking care of a dog that literally cannot fucking breathe would have been too much of a burden to have. So I will settle in on the labs for now, but hopefully one day I will get my wish. But as Ben said, yes, welcome in everybody. Sponsor this show, particularly, is special because first show of the year, new season, new world of golf to get into. There's like it almost feels like more than just a new season because there's new rules in place, there's new modifications, there's new things happening, new names to get to. So let's just jump right on in. Patrick Cantlay leads off the year with a couple of quotes from Mark Schwalbach, what it is, of ESPN, chatted about the current negotiations with the PIF, the SSG, which includes, of course, John Henry, Arthur Blank, and company as the private investment firm, and as well as the DP World Tour. We'll talk about that on the other side in about 5 minutes, but Cantlay particularly asked about all of that as he leads the PGA side of the board, handling the negotiations, working alongside, being the liaison towards the players. Was also asked if he had considered at all going to LIV. He quashed all rumors that have been circulating for the last couple of weeks through the holiday season. I thought that he might be the next guy to go alongside his best friend, Xander Schauffele. Squashed that, said he has no plans to go to LIV, wants to be in the room where it all happens. Shout out to a little Hamilton lyric. And is continuing his tirade through the PGA Tour despite a lot of uneasiness within the room, as we had heard from, a month ago. Dan Rappaport reported that he was that they're severing ties within the room for the PGA Tour with the negotiations pending. We'll see how that pans out. But do we make anything of the Cantlay rumors, the Cantlay confirmation that he's staying on the PGA Tour, or should we be taking this with a grain of salt?
I would take everything. Look, I would take everything as a grain of salt regarding who says they're not leaving. Because
it's all hogwash.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Rahm said he would never go, right? And he did.
Yeah, in essence.
Brooks Koepka said he would never go, and he did. And then there are, the guys like, Phil was very outspoken about it, and then guys just, even Sergio, like he got kind of picked up on a hot mic when he was having one of his bi-monthly, that's a word, right? Bi-monthly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bi-monthly tirades on the PGA Tour. I think like a boom mic picked him up. And he was like, I can't wait to leave this effing place. So it was kind of obvious he was leaving. I would just take everything that these guys say with a grain of salt. I think I don't know. I would lean more towards him not going because he is kind of like front and center.
Yeah.
In trying to figure this stuff out for the tour. Which is kind of concerning because I really wouldn't want him to be the primary decision maker or primary spokesperson for the tour. That should be the commissioner, who is shockingly
nowhere to be found,
nowhere to be seen, unproductive. And you and I both correctly predicted that they would not have this done come December 31st. And it is January 1st, and they're pushing the date back, even though they said they made great progress. But at the end of the day, one thing I realized, I just kind of had like this realization.
Mm-hmm.
The more that PGA Tour players speak about what they think the PGA Tour should do, or how they become more involved in said negotiations, I become less of a fan of those players. I don't know why, but I feel like it's almost like this should not at all be Patrick Cantlay's concern. And I feel like he's just inundating himself with big issues when he should just be taking a step back and maybe he should try to not be the leader or the loudest voice in the room, because that's kind of how it appears. That's how it appeared with Rory for a while. And I think he kind of wised up a little bit. But I don't know. I feel like the players themselves should just kind of like let the professionals, as in like the negotiators, such as the commissioner and the higher ups of the PGA Tour, let them handle it. But that's just me.
I mean, look, we're obviously not in the room, so we don't know what's going on. But I think you bring up an interesting point. But to play devil's advocate on that, it's the same thing as, and it isn't a perfect science here, but I think the PGA Tour is in a different situation because the players aren't technically owned by the tour, much as like the NBA obviously pays their players. They're all within the union, stuff like that. It's a very different dynamic, and we touch on this all the time, how the idea of being a independent contractor, you are really fighting for yourself, but also I think that actually gives the players even more of a say because of the fact that they could very well leave whenever they so choose, now that there is an alternate setting to go to. And for the most part, I don't think anybody would deny somebody, particularly those in the top 50, 100, that want to jump to a LIV, knowing that they have the opportunity to do so, and you could replace somebody like Richard Bland from the list if Xander Schauffele wants to join. So I think they have to have more involvement. I think when it comes to players like in the NBA, like when LeBron James wants to stand up for like political activists and give his opinion on certain things, it's a different sort of situation, but we always praise the players for wanting to get involved in those things. I don't see a problem with anybody trying to get involved within the negotiations, because at the end of the day, they only want what's best for the tour. There's a reason why they've all still stuck it out and have hung around here. But I think it's weird because with Cantlay, who claims to be quote unquote in control of the room for the players and standing up for them, there's no more Rory. Jordan Spieth can't do anything because he's now on the policy board, so he's totally ex-nay of anything going on negotiation-wise. His sole focus is the PGA Tour. Tiger clearly isn't doing anything. And on top of that, you have an inept front office and a general management of the PGA Tour that clearly doesn't have their own ducks in a row. So naturally, the next step is to have players get more involved and have heightened involvement in trying to determine, hey, where do we go from here? But the problem is that because it's so split, I think we get that sense that we lose respect and lose appreciation for these guys because our immediate thought is let the professionals handle it, but the professionals can't even handle it themselves.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I have a hard time buying in that Patrick Cantlay is fit to kind of lead the room. I was a fan of him, and then progressively over the last year or so, I just became less and less of a fan. And just based on his personality, his demeanor, I just don't see why he should be leading the room. I think, I don't know. I think it's the lack of leadership from the top of the PGA Tour, that the players themselves, who aren't even really employees, are the ones getting involved. And I just think top to bottom, it's a disaster.
But equally, it's as much of the players' league as it is the front office and the management. So I'm not going to denounce them for wanting to get involved. I also think when you look at the people who would take on that top role, I don't think anybody, you need a strong figure in the room. And as I had said, Tiger isn't there. Rory isn't doing it. I think a lot of these guys are a little bit more, let me stay away and let me focus in on my golf and my sponsorships to not upset anybody and ruffle feathers. Patrick Cantlay at this point really has nothing to lose. He's already bailed out on Titleist. He's bailed out on TaylorMade in the past. He bailed out now with Goldman Sachs and Hugo Boss. All of his sponsorships are all out the door for whatever reason it is, and partially it's because of his demeanor during the Ryder Cup. But what does he have to lose? I don't think Xander Schauffele is going to be the one to get involved, nor do I see him as being the vocal guy in the room. Justin Thomas is probably more strong-headed than anybody else. There's a reason why he hasn't gotten involved. I think everyone's also focusing in on Tony Finau's got more things to do at home than he is to be handling something for the PGA Tour. I don't think Victor Hovland wants to get involved. I don't think, again, Scotty Scheffler. I don't think they want to get involved because they have more things going on in their lives than trying to focus in on negotiations. Whether or not that's them being a pushover to the situation or not really caring, I feel like they all do. But at the end of the day, I think Patrick Cantlay just kind of fits the mold as being the one guy in the room who doesn't really have anything to lose and is also older and more senior than everybody else there. That kind of makes sense. But I agree. Whether he's the right person is to be seen, but the right people are not there. So someone has to get in, and someone has to get involved, and someone has to make some sort of a decision or bring together the players in some sort of consortium to understand, hey, what do we need? What do we want? And then present it. Because quite frankly, I think the PGA Tour does a horrible job at representing their players to begin with. And that's in all facets. And you can probably attest to that.
Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, they suck at marketing. I mean, they're awful.
They suck at marketing. They suck at operations. They suck at managing their own personnel. I think it's a problem. So the players do really need to get involved. And if anything, I commend Cantlay for it. And going back to the original point here, the reason why I'm fully on board with him saying that he isn't going to live, because he's in a heightened position like this, he has no reason to want to go. He's taken up this brunt of leading the players to the point that why would he even jump at this point. As we had alluded to, though, the PGA Tour did announce that they are extending their deadline between negotiations with the SSG, which, of course, as I mentioned, includes John Henry, Arthur Blank, Steve Cohen, and other sports owners that are trying to get involved in a private equity group, as well as the PIF also has now listed the DP World Tour as a minority investor. They're hoping to get this done, have not announced a firm deadline, but an agreement will, assumingly, press upwards of $11 billion into a new for-profit entity called PGA Tour Enterprises. What that entails, we still do not know yet, but they are hoping to get an agreement soon. According to ESPN, negotiations are going on quite well and should be wrapping up eventually. Again, whatever that means, I don't really know. According to Jay Monahan, he wrote in a memo, as you know, the PGA Tour Policy Board unanimously directed management to pursue exclusive negotiations with the SSG. I am pleased to report that we have made meaningful progress and have provided the SSG with due diligence information they requested. As we move forward in our discussions, we are focused on the finalization of terms and drafts for necessary documents. Allegedly, according to ESPN, $3 billion will come straight from the private equity fund. If the PIF is involved, more than $7 billion will come, and then an additional $4 billion will come via the DP World Tour in a three-prong effort. According to Monahan, our goal for 2024 is to reach an agreement, bringing them on board as minority co-investors in PGA Tour Enterprises. Partnerships will allow us to unify, innovate, and invest in the game for the benefit of the players, fans, and sponsors. Just a little update for you. I don't know when the hell they're going to actually get this thing figured out. And at this point, I think the everything we're hearing, probably the best quote that I heard all weekend. The commentator from the Giants game yesterday said, "It looks like makeup on a pig." It sounds hot, but it most certainly is not.
Are you done?
I am done.
Finally. Look, we don't know when this whole deal is going to take place, if it ever will. I still have my doubts regarding it. I just find the whole thing very messy, and there's a lot of different moving parts. Now, I'm about to make a comparison, and it's not a perfect comparison, but once I explain it, I think you'll kind of get what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Before Steve Cohen bought the Mets, Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez had put together basically a group of successful athletes and celebrities to buy the Mets. Yeah. I mean, it was anywhere. It was like Brian Urlacher was involved. It was like all these, famous athletes or famous celebrities. And you looked at all the names that were involved and all the different avenues of where the money was coming from. And you were like, this is never going to work. This has the potential to just be like a total disaster because you have all these different moving parts in this like negotiation process. Mm-hmm. And the main party doesn't have enough money themselves. We have the PIF, obviously they have the most money, the SSG and the DP World Tour all being involved in essentially trying to save the PGA Tour. That, to me, that's just a lot of different moving parts. And I know that's only three parties. It's not like a one-on-one negotiation. But the fact that there's four different entities discussing this and trying to negotiate where we really haven't made much progress, I don't really understand what they're trying to sell by saying they have made progress, because everyone knew they weren't going to be done. This wasn't going to be reached by the end of last year, and it obviously wasn't, because now we're in 2024. I just feel like it's a lot of moving parts, and when you factor in the lack of leadership, I mean, hey, it's nice that Monahan said something. I mean, I take everything he says with a grain of salt for sure. I think everyone should, because I just think he's almost like I feel like at times he just kind of like talks out of his ass a little bit. So that's all I really have to say. Like that's all I really got for you. I feel like there's a lot of moving parts with this, and that concerns me.
What I don't understand is that the PIF, the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour are supposed to be in partnership already as the European sector, basically, of golf versus the American side.
Yeah, I mean, they are. Yeah.
Like, why do they have to why are they all of a sudden now being named in this agreement that they can't just say, hey, we're going to give a $4 billion loan to the PGA Tour to help grow competitiveness? I mean, also, questionably, what do they get out of it? What does the DP World Tour get out of giving the PGA Tour $4 billion that all of a sudden becomes this massive thing that they have to get involved in this?
Is it possible that this is all just the PGA Tour is trying to just create one big entity?
Again, we don't even know what the PGA Tour Enterprises is.
Well, no, but like I know that, but what I'm saying is like maybe that's their idea, is that we can get the SSG, the PIF, the DP World Tour, and obviously the PGA Tour. If we can get everyone on the same page, we can basically create a monopoly again. But the PIF, they fund LIV. So if the PIF is going to basically help fund the PGA Tour, what's going to happen to LIV then? Is LIV just going to go on as like a separate thing and just like a sideshow?
Well, so that's what I've been trying to figure out for the last 6 months.
Well, because like, and the thing is though, like you have, like I remember there was the rumor that like remember it was like LIV and the PGA Tour going to merge, and I remember seeing a quote from like a tweet from Phil Mickelson. He was just like, anybody that left the PGA Tour for LIV, they don't want to go back to the PGA Tour. It's never going to happen. I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's essentially what he said. So it's just like I don't like when I see if the headline was the SSG and the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour, I would buy into that much more. But the fact that the PIF is involved with this, because initially I thought, and before this was prior to Christmas, it was the PGA Tour, SSG, and the DP World Tour. And it was basically like that was the backup plan if the PIF and PGA Tour kind of merger or partnership or whatever fell apart.
Yeah.
But now, all of a sudden, we're in the new year, and all four parties, it's really four parties, now they're all working together.
So here's the thing, and this can go back to, I don't know, 3 months ago when you and I were talking about this, and again, we still don't really even know what the hell's going on. But let's just say the PGA Tour and LIV merge, come together. We'll include SSG and the DP World Tour for shits and giggles. At the end of the day, we're going to create one mega group called the PGA Tour Enterprises, which will be owned and operated by the PGA Tour with minority stakes from the other three groups. So no matter what, the PGA Tour is going to own this. I don't think LIV goes away. I don't think the PGA Tour merges in with LIV. I think what happens is the trademarks and the patents and whatever it is that comes from LIV, the idea of team golf, because obviously you cannot afford to fight LIV at this point, which is why they merged in the first place. They're going to bring on the team aspect and bring it to the PGA Tour. They're going to try and get private investors and ownership teams. Let's take Fortune 500 companies, AT&T, Goldman Sachs, IBM, whatever it might be, to own these teams. Them, along with the players, will receive equity within those teams. And from there, I guess the PIF is going to just simply profit, because you're right. They can't bring all four of these in because it's going to create a new monopoly, and it's going to all fall under the antitrust law anyways, which they're already trying to fight to begin with. And that's a whole separate thing, because the government's never going to figure out their own timing to even get involved in figuring out the antitrust lawsuit, considering you have more prevalent issues, like, for example, NIL in college sports, that's been fought on for 2 years now, and no one has made any progress on it. So this will never get figured out by the government, but they also cannot get a new monopoly, so LIV won't go anywhere. The PGA Tour will create this new arm, which I don't know what will result. The TGL is going to be created come 2025 now.
That's not going to be a serious thing.
I don't think it'll be a serious thing, but it's going to be a wing of the PGA Tour or actually it might even be a independent enterprise. I don't think it is. Or it's in partnership with the PGA Tour. I think the whole point of this is now to try and avoid an antitrust lawsuit from the government and bust things up, bless you, to try and avoid whatever it is they can do to stop fighting with LIV and avoid government closure for whatever it might be. But as of right now, I have no idea, and I think we're just going around in circles, and until we figure this stuff out, it's almost like it's the dumbest part of the news cycle. It's become a never-ending circle of BS that not even the people who are involved know about it. The people in the room have no fucking clue what's going on. The players only know a fraction, and honestly, the only fraction they know is, well, LIV's getting involved, or the PIF, who's now synonymous, I guess, with LIV, is getting involved in this. That's really it.
Well, that kind of goes to like the last point we were talking about. That's one of the reasons I don't want I don't really want the players involved, because they don't know, I feel like, what they need to know. That's, of course, that's separate at this point. That was our last point. But you're right. I feel like there's so many layers to there's so many layers to this onion right now. And then you peel a layer back and something else comes up.
Four more grow. It's like ridiculous.
It's like let's peel this one back. It's like, we have 4 groups now trying to figure this out. It's like, well, then what happens to LIV? Like, what's going on with the TGL? Like, what's going on? I feel like it's just, there's so much uncertainty, and it's almost, I don't want to say it's become a joke, but it almost feels that way. I mean, I feel like you could agree. Like, this is like, it's a joke. Like, anybody in the golf media like us, we're just kind of like, we don't really know what to say about it, because they add another wrinkle that just gives us like 3 or 4 more different outcomes of what could happen.
And that's the worst part.
That's what I'm saying. It's
it's a different story if the media knew what was going on and can report on something and give you more detail. But we can't do that. The players can't do that. No one on either side is going to tell you anything. It's a closed negotiation. Nothing's going to move. We don't know what is happening. And quite frankly, I'm tired of having to talk about this and fill news on this show, because at the end of the day, we're stuck talking about it, but no one knows what's happening. So until something is agreed upon and all the details are out, we honestly shouldn't even be talking about it. It's a waste.
I mean, we could literally just maybe find funny Instagram reels of golfers, or just like funny golf articles. Like, I don't know, like there was this one, let's just stop talking about this whole LIV thing, because you and I are just going to keep going in circles, because and it's not our fault. We're just trying to figure it out, but there's nothing we can do to figure it out. I will say there was this really funny thing. I think my sister sent it to me. This is so off topic, but we need to because you and I are both kind of frustrated with this whole news cycle thing with LIV and the PGA Tour and the PIF. Yeah. There was this wife. She has she tracks where her husband is at all times. And he's playing golf and he was in the bunker, and she goes,
It's funny because she's next to me right now with her headphones in. But Kay and I share our locations, because God forbid if anything happens. And she's the kind of woman who will sometimes track me for fun, and I'm like, stop looking at my location. She'll see that I'm at Chick-fil-A. If I'm taking too long to get home because I'm gonna surprise her with food or something like that. I'm convinced that one day that will happen, that I will be in the bunker, and she'll be like, oh, hanging out in the bunker, I see.
She'll be
she gives me a look. No, it's bound to happen. All right.
She'll be like, geez, Steve, Ben's on the green, right next to the pin, and you're
give me a break. Well, you and I already know that it's bound to happen, that I will take 5 or 6 strokes to get there, probably 3 shots. That's 3 shots out of the trap just to get you out in 2.
Yeah.
You're also a pro and I'm a Joe. With that being said, the 2023 season is now in the rear view. It's finally a new year, 2024. The New Year's resolutions are already getting underway. The gym is fucking packed, and I hate it. It's so bad, dude.
I will say I went early this morning. No one was there, and it was awesome. I was talking to my mom about this. I was like, Mom, like, it's like that month, you know, like it's the first month of the year. You get all those people that want to get on their fitness trends and everything, and
they're gone.
And give them a month and they're gone. But I was like, Mom, here's the thing. They never show up on January 1st because they're all hung over from the night before. So it's like, why start on January 1st? We could start on January 2nd. So,
you know, you'd be shocked. I went at 6 and it was full. I mean, like, granted it's prime time, but like,
yes,
like everybody and their mother. I'm gonna have to make it a point of emphasis, like, to go before I have to get on the train in the morning. Like, I've got an 8:20 train every morning. I'm gonna have to get up at like 6 a.m., go for my half hour and do that at least for the first month, because it's a freaking nightmare. And the worst part is too, dude, these people who go to the gym, they don't re-rack anything,
dude. They
leave it all out like slobs. It's the worst,
bro. Here's the thing. So this might be bad. The audience is gonna appreciate this joke. So when I started rehabbing my injury, it was my first day at the Orlando Magic Training Center, and they were doing like all the measurements and stuff. And the guy that I primarily work with, he actually lives like 2 minutes from me, which I didn't know. But he was like, "Oh, like you live?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm like kind of like by Heathrow." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm right around there too." He's like, "What gym do you work out?" I was like, 24-hour fitness. And he goes, "Is it nice?" I was like, "It's good. Like I have a really good deal, so it kind of like." I can kind of stomach some of the crap that goes on there,
Yeah.
I said, there's a lot of high schoolers, look, I've never done drugs before in my life. That's actually, I'm not even lying. That's just true.
Yeah.
But when I was in high school, the cool thing for high school kids to do was to do drugs. Now it's to go annoy adults at the gym.
Oh my God, right?
It's like there was this one kid, bro, he's walking around barefoot. Okay. And on top of that, no, it gets better. He's eating pasta out of Tupperware, and he's like leaving it like on the. He'd do dumbbell bench press, like not a lot of weight, and then he would just like pick his pasta up and just like start walking around the gym, like and eating it. I'm like, you're so disgusting. Like I hate all these kids.
All right, hold on. So the big thing at my gym is all of the teenagers will go in like groups of like 7 and just hog the one fucking shoulder press machine or whatever it might be. And they're all wearing the same thing. They're all in like joggers, like jogger sweatpants, some form of like a t-shirt or a hoodie, and they're all wearing like Uggs or like slippers.
Bro, down here they wear Crocs or Birkenstocks, and they wear pajama bottoms.
Biggest pet peeve: if you're gonna go to the gym, wear athletic clothing.
Thank you.
Like, I'm totally fine. Like for me, when I do uppers, I'll go in Vans because I have no reason to have to be athletic on my legs.
Vans, dude, they make like baseball cleats or like Michael Lyons pitches. Like that's different. Like,
but like Vans slip-ons when I'm hitting uppers.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna go and like do legs, right? There are kids that are wearing their like Ugg slippers, hitting legs on the fucking leg press. Wear sneakers. Why are you wearing pajama bottoms?
My favorite is when they're on the squat rack. My favorite is when they're on the squat rack and they're not even wearing shoes or socks. That's my favorite. I'm just like, you guys are disgusting. Like you have no idea the foot traffic that has
gross.
You guys. That's just I sit there and like these kids like this was a couple weeks ago. I asked this guy, random dude, to like film me doing dumbbell bench press with 200s. Okay, like slight flex, I know, but there are these 3 high schoolers that are just like They were so annoying, and they picked the bench right next to me, and my level of just my annoyance for society increases every single time I'm at the gym. And they're over there like flexing in the mirror.
Oh, it's so stupid,
like,
dude.
And they lift up their shirts like, oh, like look at my abs. Like, you don't have abs. Like, put your clothes on, kid. Like, I don't need to. Like, you're making. I would love to know if like the state of Florida has a law where you can't like secretly record people in public, because I think it's different from state to state.
Yeah, you could send for some.
I would love to sit there with just like a secret little video camera somewhere and just film the crap that's in the gym that goes on. It is awful. The people that don't re-rack, they put the weights in the wrong spots. They're kids eating pasta. Like, it's disgusting. I'm like, this is what the world has produced. This is what is why.
Okay, so you can technically, it's Florida is a two-party consent state, meaning that both parties involved in a private conversation must consent. But in terms of just straight up recording somebody, they can technically sue you or ask for it to be taken down. But you can openly record somebody. You took a video once at Planet Fitness at home, I think it was, of some woman on the cables. Those people are the funniest fucking people. So all right, little story here. Now my
do you want me to find that video? And do we want to like
please do. And we're gonna I want to make a mini series for you and just be like dumb fucking people at the gym, and we'll throw it like on your social. We'll collab on it. It'll be a segment on this show, dumb people in the gym, and we'll show the videos on camera. But final thing though, because we're tangenting.
We are.
So my mom's fiance is a former bodybuilder, and we go to Planet Fitness. He hates like Gold and Planet Fitness because A, it's a lot of money, and B, he wants to just like do his own thing. So he goes to Planet Fitness. It's cheap. He gets the tanning booth, the massage chairs afterwards, and he goes, and he has been kicked out of this gym at least 12 times for sounding off the lunk alarms.
I've set it off a couple of times. I didn't even know it's a real thing.
So his name's Daryl. He grabs the heaviest weights to do bicep curls, and this guy goes, "Hey, bro, when you're done, can I have those?" And he turns to him and he goes, "Buddy, you can't lift these." And they go, "Yeah, I can, bro." Biggest pet peeve is people who fucking can, like, the hardest part of my gym day was finding a 45 today. Dude, and this shouldn't be difficult.
It's always the weights that you need. Like, if it's leg day, for some reason, everyone's doing leg day. But like the people that are doing leg day like aren't doing it right.
No fucking way you found this video.
Dude, it is classic.
Your face too.
Oh, I didn't realize I got my face.
Dude, you're just smiling. Like, what the fuck is going on? Bro, that's so funny. But yeah, no, like it was so hard for me to find this one weight. And Daryl constantly will set off the lunk alarm just like flex himself. And it's so funny when I go to the gym with him because he gets so mad about everything. He used to manage gyms. He used to like he's a big like anal. You need to take all the weight off, put it back in the right spots once you're done using the equipment. When he sees shit like lying around, or like some guy put one of the straight bars on the wrong spot, he literally said, "Hey, 30 goes here, 40 goes there. If you can't count, get out."
Dude, it's like I remember seeing like 50. Like, I remember seeing 55s where like the 35s go, and I was like, yeah, apparently the United States doesn't teach math anymore in the school system. Like, we can't, like, you know, they teach you how to like match like shapes in school and like match, you know, colors and stuff like that. Like, but God forbid we could match numbers together. I mean,
and then also like, and people will carry these dumbbells like across the gym to wherever they're working out. Do it in the area.
Or they'll take like the 25s, then they'll take like the 45s, and then they'll take like like the 20s, and they'll bring them to one spot, and they'll just like they'll do a couple bicep curls, and then they'll do some tricep overhead extensions, and it's just like, like how much longer do you have with that? You're killing me right now.
It's so bad. All right. Anyways, so despite the ridiculous new gym goers that Ben and I must deal with on a daily basis now for the next month until they all wind up inevitably leaving and quitting, and the gyms take all their fucking money. The 2023 season was a very, very like crazy, and the best way I can describe it was possibly one of the best years in golf history, in my opinion. Like when you look at everything that went down, the number of storylines could not be as bountiful as we had this year. And I'm so excited to see what Full Swing Season 2 can bring. But Ben, what were some of the best moments for you in 2023? What were some of the most newsworthy moments that you remember? Like, I was here when this happened, kind of thing.
I have 3 in particular. Number 1, my main man, John Rahm, winning the Masters. I think it's not the fact. No, obviously, yes, he won the Masters. I mean, the Masters every year, there's some type of like incredible story. Something incredible happens, either incredibly good or incredibly bad. I mean, he played fantastic. I mean, the guy won by 4 shots. But I remember the shot he hit on 18. He like kind of like hit a bad tee shot on 18. I think he hit it left. He laid up short of the bunker, and it was a short-sided pitch, like up and over this bunker to a short pin. And, you know, look, some people will be like, well, he was up 4 shots, and so, you know, there wasn't much pressure. He spun the crap out of this ball, and it was just, to me, it was just like the exclamation point to an unbelievable championship. I thought that was easily one of my top 3 moments for sure. Staying within that tournament, seeing guys from LIV compete at a high level in a major, because I think that was kind of the knock. It's like, well, I mean, how are these guys going to play? You know, I think there was a lot of there were a lot of naysayers that were like, I mean, are they going to win? Are they going to be able to compete? Like, I mean, Phil with a final round 65 in the final round of this past year's Masters, finishing tied with Koepka. Patrick Reed finishing top 5 tied for 4th at 7 under. I mean, right there, the top 5 at the time, 3 of them were on LIV, right? So I think it proved the fact that the guys on LIV can definitely still compete with the big boys on the PGA Tour or the DP World Tour. And then lastly, actually, I guess 2 more for me. Koepka winning a major again. I believe that's his 5th major.
6th.
5th.
Right. 3 PGAs and 2 US Opens.
I want to look it up just to make sure.
I know he's never won a Claret Jug, and he's never won the Masters.
Majors. 5. He's won 5.
All right.
Yes, because he won the PGA this year. Him winning the PGA, it was kind of coming down to the wire on the back 9, and he hit some incredible shots. And to kind of get that major monkey off of his back, you know, because he hadn't won one, and this guy, he was all about the majors. You know, he not openly, but everyone kind of knew. It's like for Brooks, it's the majors, and that's it. That's what he cares about. You know, that's like his those are his championships. That's what he cares about the most. To see him go and win, especially with how his mentality was portrayed and how he was really struggling with his game when Full Swing kind of caught up with him in the first season. To see someone like that come back, and look, Brooks is he's not my favorite player in the world. You know, I don't love some of the things that he says. But I always root for comeback stories, and I always root for professional athletes to if they've been counted out, or if they've been written off. I love seeing professional athletes get back on top, and get to the top of their sport and watch them be successful. And he overcame a lot of mental hurdles. He overcame a lot of physical hurdles because he's had a lot of injuries. And it was a fantastic championship. I remember I was in Knoxville when that was going on. That was the day before my 3-wood broke. And then, literally. And then lastly, Victor Hovland just absolutely, as Aaron Rodgers would say, running the table during the FedEx Cup playoffs. I'm going to coin a word here, a studly performance. I mean, just making every putt, hitting every shot, every approach shot exactly where he's supposed to hit it, playing smart yet confident golf. Not a single putt looked like it was going to miss that whole week. And he was fully in control. His short game has become really a world-class short game. He's top to bottom. When you look at his game top to bottom, he's now easily a top 3 player in the world. Easily. And I'm not looking at OWGR rankings. I'm just like, eye test, the stats. He's up there, man. And when he's on, no one can beat him. I'm convinced.
So I had 3, 2 of which are directly linked with you. Actually, kind of all 3 of them are. This was the year of 3 guys and LIV is kind of the overarching theme of one of them. The first half of the year was what seemed like the year of Jon Rahm, and the second half was the year of Victor Hovland. And I'm going to kind of link them both together because Jon Rahm won 4 events in the first 4 months of the year, completely shut me up when I said it wasn't clutch, and completely turned, like you said, ran the table on basically everybody that first 4 months of the year. He was down 9 shots to Victor Hovland, I believe, at the Sentry, and won with a back-to-back final weekend rounds of 63 apiece. Won 2 weeks later at the American Express in California. Won at the Genesis in February, and then followed all that up with he won the Masters. So you go 4 huge events, and then after that, Victor Hovland finally figured out his chipping post Pebble Beach, won the Memorial, and then, like you said, ran the table on the BMW and the Tour final. And I remember you and I were watching the BMW 3rd round, I think, from the Bethpage Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And we were saying that he was not fucking missing. Every single shot was perfect. It was dialed. The shaping was terrific. He took out Fitzpatrick and Scheffler in the playoff at the BMW late, and won by 2 strokes. And then ran the table in the final up 5 strokes, I think, to win it all. Just an absolute crazy number. And I think that at the end of the day, I think Victor Hovland is head and shoulders the best player on tour right now. Because while everybody has their things, Scottie Scheffler had the worst putting year of his career, which, albeit kind of hard to say when he still gained 2 strokes total. But when you look at his past, he was up in the 12, 13, 14 strokes gained putting at durations of the year. Victor Hovland is now top 5 in every statistical category by year's end. And that was with a really bad shipping performance for the first 2 months of the year. Has completely turned it around, has been all about improvement, and his game just gets better and better and better every single week. And it's showing even now in the DP World Tour race to Dubai, and then during the offseason, you constantly see he's getting better and better, and it's crazy.
One of the things I really enjoy about just like watching professional athletes, I enjoy the players I enjoy watching the most are the ones who don't get complacent. Because I think when you're one of the best players in the world, and you made a lot of money, you're young, it might be easy to get complacent, right? He has just this determination to just improve in different areas. It was like for the longest time, people like Sergio Garcia was this amazing ball striker, and he sucked at putting. And it's like, dude, okay, when are you going to get like a putting coach? Okay, or if you have a putting coach, when are you going to fire him? Like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Whereas Victor Hovland, he just sat there. He's like, you know what? My short game isn't good. So I'm just going to hire one of the best short game coaches I can. And I don't care how much it costs. I don't care how much time it takes. I'm just going to do it. I think that there's always something to be said for a professional athlete who is one of the best in the world, but continues to just refine their game, add components. It's like when LeBron, he was like, you know what? I'm not a very good three-point shooter. And this was years and years ago. He's like, I'm going to shoot threes because that's where the league is going to go. And look at him. He's 39, 38 years old, and he's averaging 25, 8, and 7. Like that's the mark of a champion to me, is someone who not only wins, but has the desire and just the determination to go and to just get the very most out of their skills. That's what I love that about him.
And I think Victor Hovland has that, and the fact that he's doing it at 26 is even greater. Because again, Scottie Scheffler is arguably the best player in the world. But despite this year, and look, the jury's still out. We have to see what he does putting wise this year, but he it almost felt like Scotty got a little complacent because he already knew he hit it further than everybody else, and he already knew that his approach game was elite. When he won his 6 events in 8 weeks 2 years ago, including the Masters over Cam Smith, I think from that point forward, it kind of was a little bit of complacency, and he showed flashes when he won the waste management, when he won the players, but that level just like isn't there in comparison to Hovland over the last 6 months. And it's over the top in just Victor's year. And I think this is going to be another year where the guy's already now won a tour championship. He hasn't won a major yet, but I think he'll most certainly win one this year. I think this is going to be the year that he wins player of the year. And honestly, it'll be tight, probably tightest it's ever been, considering people are already putting Ludwig Oberg in the top 5. But I think this is the year for Hovland. The other storyline, though, that I think got really undercarded, and it all happened in the last 2 months of the year. In the allusion to you where you said that LIV players showed out in the majors, I'm going to actually take it a step further. LIV players won 8 of the final 14 tournaments on any golf tour in the world the last 14 weeks of the year, all of which happening in Europe, Asia, and Africa. 8 LIV golfers won 14 events in full-on DP World Tour fields, which included PGA Tour players. LIV's legit. And I'm not even talking like Dustin Johnson's winning these events. Patrick Reed won. Louis Oosthuizen won 2. Dean Burmeister won 2. Richard Bland won 1. Like, these are not even the biggest names on these tours, and they took home hardware in every single event. Now you're only adding on the biggest storyline of the year, being next to the ball rollback, John Rahm joining LIV. Like this is now the year that LIV Golf is going to solidify itself as far more of a force than it ever has been, and it's going to come to light even faster than once we get to major season, because now we're at the point too, and this is the fun part, where now most of the guys on LIV can't qualify for the majors because they fall out of, unless they have exemptions, the OWGR rankings to get to those spots. Yeah. So we're kind of hitting the precipice here where the LIV players are going to have to do the most with their opportunities. And I do think that even though they're going to play on LIV courses, which are not harder slope wise and rating wise than PGA Tour courses, they're going to have better weekends. And I think if you put them head to head, LIV Golf is going to be a major force, and they're only getting better and stronger every year. And some guys will jump. There are more spots to fill. There are more guys to go. So give it time, and LIV will bounce off the page in 2024.
I have one thing to add before we go, I'm assuming, into our season predictions. I found it so laughable when people were saying, well, if you give these guys guaranteed money, their play is probably going to slip because they're already getting paid. They're not going to work as hard. I had this conversation with an instructor who's from Europe. And I looked at him and I was like, you do realize that these guys in all these other sports, whether it's baseball, football, hockey, soccer, whatever it is, that sign like these big, fat, guaranteed money contracts, they continue generally to be at the highest, the height of their career. You know, the best of their. They continue to play their best sport, basically, their best version of themselves in their sport. Well, what you just said, the fact that they won 8 out of the last 14 of those tournaments just proves that even though they got guaranteed money, they're not complacent. They're still just as motivated because they sit there and they're like, you know what? Fine. I can't play in the PGA Tour anymore, but you know what I can do? I can go play in the DP World Tour, or I can go play in the Asian Tour or the Sunshine Tour or whatever it is and accumulate world ranking points that way. And if I play well enough, maybe I'll get into some majors, you know, like, I mean, you know, it depends. Like some guys have exemptions into majors already, like Patrick Reed. I mean, he's in the Masters forever, right? But other guys that you might not have heard of, it's like, or you might not be as familiar with, they don't have the championship pedigree of a Koepka, of an Oosthuizen, of a Patrick Reed. They're going to be like, you know what? I'm still motivated because I want to play the majors.
Exactly.
You know, I'm just I'll play on LIV and I'll play these other tours that will give me world ranking points. And who knows? Because remember, the Masters is by invitation as well. Okay. So obviously, you have to be like in the top, whatever, but you also have to be invited. And I do think, who knows, they might make exceptions to certain guys on LIV. You never know about that. So,
and not for nothing too.
I think it would be ludicrous to see like someone like Louis Oosthuizen not playing the Masters. Think about that.
Yeah,
it'd be insane. That would be insane. So,
but the crazy part is too is that right, like they are. I don't even think it's a matter of complacency that this all happens. I think the funny thing is that we almost forget that they exist because they aren't in the PGA news cycle, and we don't get enough like LIV media, quote unquote. We only really ever hear about LIV when it comes to what's happening on the business side and not the actual performance side. So, like for example, right, like. If I threw a name out, by the way, Michigan just beat Alabama.
Let's go
in overtime. When you look at and I'll throw out 3 names that I heard it. I heard them recently, and I was like, they're playing golf still. Like Jason Kokrak,
Xavier Lum.
Completely forgot that he was even playing golf anymore. Of course, he's playing for LIV. Like those names are like even like Kevin Na has not had a lot of recognition on the LIV Tour, with the exception of a handful of names. It almost feels like they kind of fall into media irrelevancy, but they still hold the same desire to win golf events. I mean, at the end of the day, even though you're making guaranteed money every single event, you're only playing 14 events a year, so there's still more money to be had,
for sure.
So that's why I think LIV is going to be as impressive as in years past, and they're only going to get better because the competition is getting better. Because DJ is still really good, and now John Rahm is getting involved, and it's going to be huge. We're going to take a short break. On the other side, we're going to review our 2024 predictions for the season. We'll give you every single breakdown, and of course, overlook the Sentry Tournament this weekend, first event of the year. Hopefully, we can get our beer money. I'll show you a rising start. Don't go anywhere, folks. It's the Get in the Hole podcast. Ben and Steve. We'll see you in a minute.
Get in the Hole is brought to you by PHI Apparel Company, our incredible merch partners. PHI Apparel Co. provides unique designs and high-quality clothing from T-shirts to hoodies for every golfer around. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out on the course, the driving range, or at the 19th hole. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any order. That's code UNDERGROUND at phiapparel.co and grab exclusive Get in the Hole podcast merch and support your favorite golfers.
And we are back to Get in the Hole podcast. Ben, Pirro, Steve McAvoy here. Time for our 2024 predictions. We have to get Ben to bed, so we're going to try and rush through the second half of the show here with ease. We lead off our 2024 predictions with our major winners this year. Give me your 4 picks each of the majors, and this is going to be a we're going to have to hold a contest here for how many of these we get right across the board. But your major winners this year at the Masters, US Open, Open Championship, and of course the PGA.
God.
Loaded questions.
Max Homa wins the Masters. Ricky Fowler wins the US Open because it's at Pinehurst this year, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, he finished second there, albeit he was like 10 behind Martin Keimer last time they were there, but he has played well there. Where's the Open Championship this year?
I'll tell you right now. 2024 Open Championship will be at Royal Troon.
Give me Tommy Fleetwood. That man is overdue.
He has to win
And
something.
you guys know I'm a sucker for good golf swings. And where's the PGA this year?
The PGA Championship. Valhalla. This is a great year for majors. Holy shit.
Dude.
Holy shit.
I'm going to go the PGA Championship.
That's crazy.
Dustin Johnson.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So my picks for the majors. The Masters. I think Brooks Koepka wins it. I
really wanted to pick him, but I don't know. Max Homa is such a good putter. Like, he's so good at putting, and you have to be an amazing putter.
So my two picks for the Masters as of right now are Koepka and Spieth, and I think Spieth's always in the running just because his putting is always better than everybody else's. But I'm leading Brooks Koepka to win the Masters, and because for him, I think the Masters is going to be harder to win than the British. So to get the Grand Slam, I think he needs the Masters more. So I'm going to take Brooks at the Masters. At the PGA right now on the odds board, it's Scheffler, McIlroy, Rahm. I don't want to hear any of them. I like Colin Morikawa at Valhalla.
Okay.
The U.S. Open for Pinehurst. This is where it gets like flummoxing. I think Victor Hovland's going to win a major. I don't know if he's going to win it in Scotland or if he's going to win it at Pinehurst. I'm going to take. I'll take Victor at the U.S. Open, and at the British, I'm gonna take Jon Rahm.
It's the Open Championship. Get it right.
Sorry, the Open Championship. I apologize. I think Jon Rahm will win that one too. I think you have to. I have to get a European on the board for Troon. So those are the four early picks. They're probably apt to change once we actually get to these, but I think as of right now, a pretty solid overall pick. At this point, though, Justin Thomas is probably going to win his 18th PGA, so let's be honest. All right. Who will win their first PGA Tour event in 2024? A couple of names that stand out: Minwoo Lee, Cameron Young, Eric Cole, Tommy Fleetwood.
You know what? I really... I mean, it's not like a one person answer, is it? Technically.
Well, give me one guy who's guaranteed to win his first PGA Tour event this year. It could even be someone that I didn't just rattle off. It could be a rookie.
You know what? I'm going to go... I think Cameron Young's such an obvious one, so I'm just going to yes, Cameron Young's going to win, but my pick for this question is going to be Tommy Fleetwood. I think that this is the year he breaks out. I do. I think this is the year that he breaks out. He wins a major. He wins a couple PGA Tour events, and he has just like 3 wins in a major kind of year. You know, I could totally see him doing that. I think that that's very reasonable. I think that that's so doable for him and his talent level.
So
he's just like, it's just like we're just waiting for it to happen. You know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I've been sitting on Fleetwood for probably 3 or 4 years now. I think he's played in I think 170 something events and is not won on the PGA Tour. nor has won a major. So it's more than due for him. My pick is easily Min-Woo Lee. Probably the most underrated player on the PGA Tour, top 50 player in the world. He has 2 wins in the last 2 months. He won the Australian PGA Championship the weekend of Thanksgiving, and he won on the Asian Tour at, I think, Macau in October. He's 25. He's one of only 3 players to have finished top 25 in every major this year. He finished T5 at the US Open, finished T18 at the PGA, and he finished top 25 at both the Masters and the Open. I think this is the year Min-Woo wins on tour and very well might be in contention on Sunday for a major at some juncture. He is that good. And again, pure golf swing, pure player, really good all around. His sister is arguably better than he is, and he has all the potential in the world.
Can you imagine being having those genes,
It's
those
amazing.
athletic genes? Could you imagine? It's like the McCourty brothers.
Yeah.
It's insane to me. I think or the Kelsey brothers.
Dude, you don't even really have to even go far. The Cordas, the daughters are both on tour. The father and I think the mother were both Olympic tennis players, and Sebastian is now going to be on the front line at the Australian Open in tennis. Like a studly athletic family, or the Joneses, despite being mentally insane. Chandler Jones and John Jones, that's freakish. But the Lees, Minjee Lee and Min-Woo Lee are just both absolutely amazing at the sport. I think Min-Woo won the 2016 Junior Amateur, and she won, I think, the women's Junior Amateur. They're the only brother sister pair to ever win the USGA championships in the same year.
That's insane.
They're just absolutely sick. I think Min-Woo Lee is going to win his first event. And look, I really hope that Cameron Young and Fleetwood get theirs as well, because it's been a long time coming. But Min-Woo's my guy. There is no technical award for the comeback player of the year on the PGA Tour, but we have one. It's the guy in the whole comeback player of the year.
That is so criminal that there isn't that's ridiculous that they don't have.
We each said it was the resurgence of Ricky Fowler in 2023, and guess what? It was. Who is going to win the second annual Get in the Hole comeback player of the year?
Look, it's between 2 players. I think everyone can agree. It's between Justin Thomas and Will
Zalatoris.
Yeah, and Will Zalatoris. That being said, I am more inclined to pick the player who does not have the injury history. So that being said, I'm going to go with Justin Thomas. I think he's primed for a bounce back year. I would not be shocked if he won a major. I would not be shocked if he won multiple times in the PGA Tour this year. I think he's going to have a very nice year, and I think his head's in a good spot. I think his head's in a good spot. He played pretty well at the Ryder Cup. I think he's motivated. And look, I'm sure Will Zalatoris is as well, but physically, I think from a health standpoint, from a physical skills standpoint, I know Will is he is a better ball striker, I would assume, than JT, but the all-around game, let's be honest, Justin Thomas is a better putter than Will Zalatoris, even though I will always support Will. It's got to be Justin Thomas, man. In my mind.
Part of me wants to kind of take the high road and go with someone totally different.
Like Tiger?
Could you? No.
I'm just messing.
We know what to expect from Tiger Woods. The fun part about it being the Get in the Hole comeback player of the year is that it doesn't even really need to be on the PGA Tour. And I don't even really know if you can call it a comeback in this regard, but if he wins a major, I think it'll most certainly be a comeback story for the decades. If I'm going to take a PGA Tour player, Jason Day, who won late in the fall series, I think will give another run for their money performance, as he's just moved to LIV Golf as his apparel sponsor. I think he will have another resurging year where it almost seemed like he had it for the first couple months and it tailed off. But Dustin Johnson, if Dustin Johnson can come out hot on the LIV season, possibly win a major or two or be in contention, I think there's placement for a comeback player of the year love. If I'm going to take it between JT and Zalatoris, I'm going to lean Zalatoris because JT pisses me off too much. I'm instituting a new Get in the Hole award as well. The underachiever of the year, who is going to achieve the least that has all this hype going into this year.
Oh man.
Who's gonna suck ass in 2024?
Oh man, this is a tough one.
I think I have the perfect pick.
I'm trying to think. You know what? You go first. I don't know who I want to pick yet.
He will not win a major in 2024, and the drought and the dry spell will continue.
Who?
I think Rory McIlroy is going to be the biggest underachiever of 2024. He won't win shit, and if he does win, he'll win like a European Tour event or like the Scottish Open again. At this point, until he wins a major, I'm not buying anything on the Rory McIlroy train.
I mean,
old used goods.
I mean, I also said I wasn't going to talk about him until he won a major.
Yikes!
I still stand by. I was gonna, to be fair, I was gonna pick him, but I'm like, you know what? He's like finally kind of shut his mouth, and so maybe he's like actually focusing on himself now, which is probably good for his golf game. I'm going to go with someone out of left field. And I don't really know if this even qualifies because his career has been so up and down. Lucas Glover. I mean, just like a backdoor, like top finishing was top 5 in FedEx Cup points going into the Tour Championship. Like, I think his career has always just been like this. You know, I think like there were like probably 3, 4, 5 years ago or something like that. You know, guys started getting on CBD and they were like endorsing it. And it was one of his like big sponsors. Like I think he was like one of the guys like put it like in his coffee, like would drip it in his coffee and stuff. And he was like, this has like really helped me. And he had a really good year. He did. He won a tournament. He made it to the Tour Championship. And then this past year, he's like, I got this putter and it's amazing because I've never known how to putt before. And he played amazing. He won two of the biggest events of the year, you know, excluding the majors, essentially. But I can't remember a time where he had back-to-back good years. You know, it's almost like a little bit like Cam Newton-esque. Like Cam would have a great year and have a bad year. And have a great year and have a bad year. I think Lucas Glover is kind of like a shoo-in for that.
I think a second name that I think stands out for underachiever, and I don't really know if you can call him an underachiever because he's been so consistent, but he can't log enough wins for you to be like, hey, he is really a top 5 golfer in the world. Like Xander Schauffele.
Oh.
Like, just does not ring like outside of him winning the Olympics, it's like the biggest achievement he's had in the last 5 years.
Hey, that's a great achievement, though. Come on.
Fine, great. But at the end of the day, he doesn't win majors. Yet he's a shoo-in for a top 5 like every single time.
Yeah.
I just like he can't get over that hump, and I don't know what it is about his game. He always comes. It's the final 3 holes, and while he's taking 1 step forward, he ends up 4 steps back every single time, and it's always on Sunday. I think Xander might also very well underachieve. 2024, the Rookie of the Year. Lots of names coming up this year from the Korn Ferry Tour.
I know. I was really hoping, like, if Mickey had gotten his tour card, I would have been like Mickey DeMora all the way. I'm going to go with, you know what? Gordon Sargent. I feel confident with that pick. He's a solid young player. I think very motivated. Motivated seems to be motivation, motivated. That seems to be the word of the show today.
Motivate.
What's that?
So it's the J. Cole song, Motivate.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, look, in all seriousness, this guy, he's a solid player. As with almost every single rookie every year, not much is known about him. So this is kind of like a crapshoot in a way. It's not like Ludwig Aberg, like everybody's like, well, yeah, he's going to be a stud. Once he got his starts, he's like, well, yeah, that's just going to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say Gordon Sargent. I think he'll have a good year. Might win, win a PGA Tour event. I could see that.
Gordon Sargent's really good.
He's so.
It's really hard, honestly, because there are so many players coming up this year that have like a pedigree that stands out like amongst the rest. So, for example, like Pearson and Parker Cootie, both from Texas, coming in, we're gonna be like fighting Ludwig Aberg to get their PGA Tour U card in that inaugural swing. Michael Thorbjornsen, I think, is going to graduate this year from Stanford. He'll be in the running. Gordon Sargent from Vanderbilt. I think Chris Gotterup is going to be in there too. Travis Vick from Texas. There are just so many names to throw out there. Gordon Sargent hits the ball so fucking far, though, that I'm just like convinced that this guy, once he gets on tour full time, is going to be nuts. But I think he's only a junior at Vanderbilt, so I don't know if he's going to play the year out and then come on tour, or try and get like a partial exemption sponsorship opportunity. So I'm gonna go with somebody who will in fact be on tour this year. I'm gonna go Ben Coles, finished top of the KFT last year.
I have a question. Does he count though? Because didn't he play on tour a long time ago?
Does he count? He may have not logged enough.
What's that?
He might have not logged enough service time.
No.
Actually, no, never mind. He's played in 55 events.
Yeah.
But I don't know if those 55 have been concurrent throughout his whole career.
No, I'll help you out here. Come on. My phone sucks.
You're all good. Let me keep on looking around here and trying to see who else falls on this list that I can run with. Here we go. If I have to give you a different name though, which I'll go with, all right. So Coles does not qualify because he played too many events in the 2021 season. All right. So with that said, then I'm gonna have to go with a different fun name. All right, here we go. This is my guy. I'm gonna totally butcher the name, but it's easy for me to go with this. Played at the University of Illinois for 4 years, was a top 5 player in the amateur rankings all 4 years of college. He finished 11th on the KFT points. 11th in the KFT points ranking. He had 1 win, 6 top 10s on the KFT on a sponsor exemption. He has 1 career PGA Tour start. Belgian golfer Adrien Dumont de Chassat. Fuck yeah.
You butchered that name.
Did I? I have no idea. It's Belgian.
That was...
This kid's fucking crazy, though. And at 23, people have compared him relative to like the grouping that Ludwig Aberg was in when he came up. It's like him, Joe Highsmith from Pepperdine, who I watched from my sister going there. Mac Meissner is another guy who's within that range. These are all guys coming in, again, Chris Gotterup as well, and the Cooties that can all make a huge impact early on. But I think Adrian's going to be a force. Saw him play a little bit on Golf Channel to college tournaments. He hits the ball far. His approach game is really good, and his putting is really strong too. So I'll take him for a early prediction for the rookie of the year. Finally, the biggest news story of 24. Who's going to dominate the headlines? Is it a player? Is it a story we're going to be following? What will it be?
Biggest news story of the year. Come on, Steven. It's gonna be the PIF, the PGA Tour, the SSG, the DP World Tour. Patrick Cantlay running the show, or maybe Tony Finau, running the show eventually. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the fiasco that is the PGA Tour merger with whoever's attention they can get. That's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna be. I hate to break it to you, but that's what it's going to be. Whether or not the merger even happens, by the way, whether or not it happens.
I think the storyline of the year is going to be a major player is going to go to LIV and join with Jon Rahm, and it's going to absolutely shake up everything. And we're going to start to get a push here where people are going to be vying for a PGA Tour versus LIV event, similar to a Ryder Cup. I think it might happen. What, like some private company is going to do something like the match, and they're going to get as many players as they can to sign up for this and do, like, let's say a 6v6 or a 8v8, whatever it might be, and do a weekend Ryder Cup event sponsored by some big time company. I think this is going to happen.
Could you imagine, like, if that happened, like LIV beating the PGA Tour players? Could you imagine?
And tell me, I'm telling you right now, Greg Norman will sponsor it.
Oh, for sure.
And big time companies will get involved, and people are going to want to make this a huge fucking thing, and it'll happen, and it will come together very quickly.
That would be awesome. All right.
Yeah, that's the gist. LIV will overtake. All right, really quickly, quick chatter. The Sentry, formerly called the Sentry Tournament of Champions, Kapalua this weekend for the 18th year. We've been playing the Sentry, the 5th time we've been going back to Kapalua. All former champions, all players from the Tour Championship that qualified. A bunch of new guys in the field. Ludwig Oberg listed 3rd on the odds board, 3rd shortest odds, making his debut here at this event. Par 73, 7,500 yards, all very gettable par 5s. It's a resort-style golf course. Everything is going to be reachable, low scores. I think the PGA Tour scoring record occurred here, a 3-way between Matt Jones, Jon Rahm, and Cam Smith in 2022. It was 34 under. Past winners here include Harris English, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, Jordan Spieth. The field is loaded. It's one of the biggest, one of the smallest big time fields we'll have all season. And with that, we get into our beer money picks presented by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. Get in the Hole is brought to you by Kenwood Beer. Who's Kenny, you might ask? Well, he's smooth, he's clean, and bright with a taste to boot. Kenny's the routine choice of folks who want a balanced, flavorful, no-frills beer that's right for literally any occasion. Only 120 calories and 8 grams of carbs. Some might call it the best light beer they ever had. We just say you can't beat the original. Head to kenwoodbeer.com and use the Kenny tracker to find where you can get your hands on some ice-cold, refreshing Kenwood beer from your favorite liquor stores in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Maryland areas, as well as at the Wells Fargo Center and beyond. Must be 21 years or older to consume, and of course, please drink responsibly. We begin with our top 20 pick at the Sentry to kick off the beer money plays of 2024.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm going to go. To me, this one, I feel like the fact that Akshay's so low on the odds board, I just feel like that's like kind of I feel like that's a little bit bizarre. I'm going to go with Akshay Bhatia. Top 20.
Top 20 for me. I'm going to go with Corey Connors. Last year, he was really good off the tee, but he was really bad around the green and putting. But the nice thing about this golf course is that you can hit it so damn far with the winds blowing out in Hawaii that I think the ball will carry enough that he'll be able to hit it close enough. He won't have to worry too much about being around the green. I'll take Corey Connors for a top 20 this week. Your top 10 pick.
I'm going to go with Eric Cole. He had a great year last year. He made like $4.5 million, I think it was. I think this is a perfect course for him. I'm going to go Eric Cole, top 10.
Top 10 for me. I know I said he's going to be a super underachiever, but I know that he is able to do a lot of things on this golf course. I'll go Xander Schauffele for a top 10. It's almost a lock, but again, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. He'll finish top 10, but he probably won't win this year. Top 5.
Top 5. I'm going to go with Max Homa. He puts it way too well. And I mean, look, everyone out here is going to hit fairways. Everyone out here is going to hit greens. It's who putts the best, really, at the end of the day. I've played this course before. The greens are enormous, very undulating, and a lot of grain. And when you factor in wind, which is what they are 1,000% going to be encountering, they will 1,000% be encountering that on the beautiful island of Maui. Putting is a premium. It becomes an imperative skill. Max Homa, top 5.
A really fun pick here for me. He got his first win at the 40 net during the fall series, pushed him all the way to the top. He'll be in every signature event. Sai Thigala for a top 5. He's finally won his first event. He's finally gotten over the hump. He's now firmly within the top players in the world. And he still isn't even in the top 30 yet. So I like Sai for a top 5. Your gimme pick this week.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Tony Finau. This course fits him well. He's a bomber, obviously. He's a great ball striker. So it's hard for anyone not to have. It's hard to not have a good ball striking week on this course. The reason I say top 10 though is his putting does kind of scare me. And this is going to be a putting contest at the end of the day on this golf course because the scores are going to be so low. And because ball striking, it really just evens out there. So I'm going to go Tony Finau for a top 10.
I'm going to go top 20, Russell Henley. If I can put Corey Connors in for a top 20 and being better on the greens and putting, I think I could do the same thing with Henley. It's almost the same story. He's really good off the tee and his approach game's really good, but his putting hasn't translated. Yet he's managed to come top 5 in multiple events in Hawaii, including a runner-up finish last year at the Sony. So I love Russell this week to capture me a pretty solid figure. Your winner this week at the Sentry as we hope to lock in a 1-for-1 at the beginning of the year.
To me, I think it's going to end up being a 2-horse race. I think it's going to come down to either Victor Hovland or Ludwig Aberg. I know Scheffler is the highest on the odds boards, but with how he putted coming down the stretch last year, that just really concerns me. I want to see a couple of events out of him. I'm going to go with Victor Hovland. I think he picks up right where he left off. I think that this is like the last. You said it so well. You said it very well. The second half of last year was like the year of Victor Hovland, kind of. Mm-hmm. This could very well be the year of Victor Hovland. So I'm going to go with Victor getting off to a great start in 2024.
Yeah, the way I see this, it's a 2 to maybe 3 horse race, and it's Victor, it's Ludwig, and I'm gonna loop in Jordan Spieth solely because again it's a putting contest and I can never count him out. But Victor's just been so dialed in and focused on getting his game to a level that is so much better than everybody else's. I think Scotty's great. I think Scotty will hit it so far and be on every par 5 and 2. But then again, I think most people will be able to do so in these conditions. It's wide open. The winds are going to be blowing. For the most part, I think almost every hole is downwind on the back 9, which is where you really need your scoring to be high. So I think with that being said, I will go with Victor Hovland as well with you, and hopefully we can lock in that first play. But I do think that it'll be a 2-horse race between Victor and Ludwig come Sunday. That'll be a almost definite. Final thoughts before we hit the road. Any resolutions that you have for the new year?
I have so many. Number 1, I was a loser last year. I really was. I felt like I was a loser. I had a loser attitude. I had a losing mentality. I want to get back to being a winner, and I have a lot of goals for golf, for fitness, for friendships and relationships and stuff. But you know what? I just felt like a loser. I felt like I felt like I surrounded myself with people that have losing mentalities, and I felt like that negatively rubbed off on me. And clean slate in 2024 for me. So yeah, get back to my winning mentality, my winning ways in just the game of life, not just in golf, but like the game of life.
We'll love to see Ben Pirro fighting for his PGA Tour card come Sunday at Sawgrass in Q School final. Let's speak it into existence. I hate the idea of resolutions because I think resolutions mean that you're going to wind up breaking them. They're just like all the fat asses who go to the gym for the first month and then leave. So I think it's more so just continuing some really good habits, really strong habits, and being just a really good person. I think at the end of the day, we still live in a world where things are really uneasy. So to go into 2024 and love everybody, be respectful. You never know who you're talking to, and always give back to what will be your future self. I think is a really important thing to take away. And 2024, I'm getting married, so this is a exciting point in my life. I'll see you and KB at the wedding in December. But
I'm gonna be twerking so hard, you have no idea.
Ben, I can't wait to see you on the wall.
I am going to steal. It's not going to be about you and Kay. Okay, they're going to look back and they're not going to think. They're going to think, yeah, it was Stephen and Kay's wedding. Yeah, it was great. But that Ben Pirro, man, can he dance, and man, can he twerk on a wall better than anyone ever in the existence of humans. Better than Nicki Minaj.
Oh, I don't know if you. I went to go see Pitbull a couple of years ago, and Iggy Azalea was the opener. That woman twerked on everything. Oh my god!
So I was at Krista Tino's house a couple. This was before I left before I went to New York for Christmas. She had me over for some chili and everything, and I dropped off a Christmas present. And there were a couple people over there, and a couple people. It was myself and her partner Claudia. That was literally it. But somehow we got on the topic of like twerking, and I was like, "I can twerk if you want." Okay. And I think that they were like looking at our podcast actually, and they were like, "Wait, like it's something in like the title mentioned me twerking or you twerking." And I twerked for them, and Krista and Claudia, they lost their minds. And then she texted me last night. She goes in a group chat. She goes, "My New Year's resolution is to twerk like Ben."
Ben, I can't. Okay, Ben's very excited to twerk at our wedding. Do you have any comments on that? No comments. Apparently, Ben's like all pro.
I'm amazing.
All pro twerk team 2024.
Like people thought like Antonio Brown could twerk. Please give me a break. Like I got this thing covered.
So long as you lead the party when Get Low comes on and you're the one guy in the front going to the window, to the wall. That's why I dropped down my balls. Oh my god!
All I ask is that you play just like a classic twerk song, and you just give me the dance floor for
twerk,
30 seconds, bro. Give me 30 seconds. That's all.
All right, we'll make it happen.
You'll make your year.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in for the first episode of season 4 of the Get in the Hall podcast. Crazy how we've come so far on this show. 2024 is now in full swing. Be sure to follow us, like, subscribe, follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Underground Sports Philadelphia, Get in the Whole Pod, every single network, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You know where to find us. Shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to Kentwood Beer. Shout out to PHI Power Co. Everybody who makes this show so strong. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to myself for bringing you so much content week in and week out. Give us some love. We have so much great content coming in 2024. Tune into all of the interviews that are coming through. We are making this the best show in best season of Getting the Whole history, and honestly, probably the best show on Underground Sports Philadelphia. So tune in with us next week. We'll be back for yet another strong week. Enjoy the new year. Happy, healthy new year to everybody. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time. And remember, get in the hole!